Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the October 8th edition of Travis Told You. 2025, I guess I should give the year 2025. Here we are, almost over. We're getting near the end of it, but I am your host, Travis Snail. Very messy hair right now. Late shower day. My hair part has to be different because the way it's parted been all over the place. Don't have any time to get product in it, but you know, 'tis is life, right? Luckily, that's the only problem I got going today. Work's good, life's good. Next week, you know, Canadian Thanksgiving's coming up, so got some time off there, so that's good. So I hope everyone is doing well. And yeah, it's October. It's been fun. We got some couple of questions there on today about Halloween, creepy stuff, and everything. And I enjoy that. Keep them coming. This is the month of October, Halloween, my favorite month of the year. Anything Halloween related, horror related, I know we'll do an actual episode on GeekVerse that's like a Halloween episode, but anything that is that, I can never get enough of, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate all you that listen to, whether you watch live or listen to the replay. I thank you very much. And yeah, we got a bunch of random stuff to talk today, so that's where it's going to be fun. We're talking about Heat 2, we're talking about Ocean's 14, we're going to talk about that final, that Fast and Furious stuff going on, Dexter, Resurrection Season 2 renewed, and then like I said, some good Halloween questions. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing today. Just a fun little one here. Who knows, it's a little one. I'll have some rant about something, or there'll be a question. Who knows? But yeah, we're going to go do this for about an hour. If you would like to send a question, either you got to be a Patreon or you can send a super chat, just because I only got an hour to do this. So then the rest of the week, we got the Gen V review that's happening tonight, which will also release tomorrow. And then the Peacemaker finale, Tron Ares. So lots of fun. That's a fun 3 days coming up right now. So, and also on the feeds, side quest we just reviewed, which people are very much enjoying. Big thank you to all the Patrons. We just reviewed The Shining, which will be on the feeds in a couple weeks, but obviously if you are a patron, you get that nice and early. So we appreciate all you that have liked it and listened to it. And yeah, that's one that we had another cast record, which also we brought back Comic Book Virgins and Honor Predator Badlands. We reviewed Predator versus Wolverine, Black Panther, and Spider-Man. That's what I think it's like 12 issues altogether. So read those if you're a fan. They're tons of fun. Minor spoilers, my thoughts, tons of fun. We had some good discussions about just canon and what if and some stuff relating to the Predator. But those are two episodes that are on Patreon early right now. And yeah, The Shining, I could have gone on for days about. I at some point I should do like just a commentary track, or we should, because I keep going and going and going. But you know, I digress. Very fun time. And yeah, last thing I'll promote, as usual, November 8th, Extra Life, our charity stream, 24 hours for BC Children's Hospital. We're trying to raise $2,500. That's usually our goal every year, but also trying to do that because when we get too close to that range, we would have hit 20K for the BC Children's Hospital and doing this for 9 years, which is pretty good. I would have thought even for 10 years, that'd be pretty good, but not like even before the decade that we've done that much with all your help and everybody else. We appreciate it. It's going to be a fun time. The link is down below for all the details, where to donate. It is tax deductible. There is shirts you can buy now that are exclusive for this until November 9th. And then those will go away. There's a Jurassic Park one. There's a Superman one. There's a Fantastic Four, all kind of in the vein of the summer movies, this box office, in the box office. I don't know what the hell. I correct myself to say box office again. Battle? Was I going to go there? I don't know. I guess it was a kind of a battle, but Jurassic World 1, who knows? And who will win the shirt sales? We'll see. We'll see if anyone can beat the Barbie one too. The Barbie one was our highest selling one. So shout out to anyone that has that one, because those ones, maybe one year, maybe on the 20th, we'll like do like a comeback, or maybe I wonder for Extra Life 10, we got to do something special, right? Because we had our 10 year, but then 10 years Extra Life, that's a whole different thing. But donations are tax deductible. Down below is where you can donate. Also, we haven't even publicly started to announce everything, but there is the schedule tentatively for the stuff we were doing this year, and some other things we added. We got the goals up there as well too, what you can unlock for if we get to 2,500. I think we've said this publicly somewhere, but if not, we're gonna do a whole marathon, not that day because we'll be tired, but we'll lock ourselves in a room, we'll stream it. It'll just be myself, Kirkland, Taylor. If Dylan wants to join, if he can join, come to Vancouver, that'd be great. We'll just watch all 3 Lord of the Rings extended straight back to back to back. That's what we'll do. That's our top goal. So yeah, that's our there's a couple other content goals, but most of the goals for Extra Life are things to do of the day of, because that's a stream, and GV Day is more for the content. But yeah, appreciate all of you that do help out with that. I guess I should let people know the show is live, and that's what I'm doing right now. So yeah, let's talk about let's see. What should I start off with? Let's talk about Heat. So this is a movie that I'm hopefully at some point. I imagine. Well, now especially with this movie coming out now, Heat 2 looks like it's a go, right? Because what happened was, which is a super weird thing, where okay, they write Michael Mann writes the book for Heat 2. I've never read it. I've heard mixed things. Like Cocktail Clay told me it was great. There's someone else I know that told me it was great, but then I've heard of people say, it's okay. So I've never gone around to rushing to it. And I think there was part of me that went, they've talked about, I might make this a movie just because it was a movie first. I might watch the movie first and then go to the book. But if it's Michael Mann, I imagine most of the stuff's going to be pretty similar, right? I think that's going to carry over. And Heat itself was almost 3 hours, so I don't really worry about runtime. So Amazon is doing this. There was part of this report that so Warner Brothers had the right, they put them up for sale because they just couldn't come to an agreement, and they were going to give Mann the budget, but they supposedly wanted Heat 3 as well. So I guess that just shows where we are, and we'll talk about all these other sequels and whatnot in this episode, but that's where we are in Hollywood and whatnot, where it's like, well, we need a guaranteed franchise. And even the idea of Heat 2 is already like, whoa, what are we doing here, right? So it's to me not the same as like the comedies. The comedies, they are, that's a bit more risky to do, like one 20 years later, 15 years later. Hang on. It's a little more risky because of, we've seen Zoolander, we've seen Anchorman. There's tons of other ones where it is something that we've seen them just crash out. And with Heat 2, it's just, I read the synopsis of, okay, so it is, I'll just say in case you haven't seen it, there is a character that escapes, in the crew, and it's, I guess there's two parts where it's a prequel sequel where part of it is about that character. I guess it's not going to matter. I'm going to have to talk about the character anyways with the casting, right? But so if you don't want any Heat spoilers, jump ahead 3 minutes. But so Chris, aka Val Kilmer's character, he escapes and it's kind of him on the run. Now, what I've read from the synopsis, it seems like it happens right after the fact of the movie where he escapes and then he's on the run, right? I don't think they'll do that. I feel like they'll put some separation between it, because the thing was, so okay, Warner Bros. Said we'll give you the budget, but we want Heat 2 and 3, and it sounds like other things they just couldn't agree on. They put them up to sale rights, and then I think it's United Artists, I think is the company, but then also Amazon bought the rights for Heat 2. They're going to be making that. They have not said if it's going to be going theatrical. I would imagine it would be. I'd be very disappointed if not. That's still a movie I've never seen in the theaters. I would like to at some point. So I hope they do a re-release with this one, even though it's different companies. Warner Brothers should get the money and, easily, hey, Heat 2's coming out. Here's Heat 1. So for me, and then attached to Michael Mann, yeah, he's attached to us. He wrote, he's going to direct it great. And then the four actors, which we've heard Butler and Driver for a while. That's been talked about, and it sounds like he had talked to him around Ferrari time. So, and to me, that made sense of it sound, and we don't know for sure, but the idea is that De Niro, or like young De Niro, is going to be Driver, which at first when I had heard that, I went, that's kind of an odd fit. I can see how in Ferrari, like even his hair, he looks like he could be a young De Niro, right? So for me, I can see the demeanor he can give off, even though I'm not sure the age. I guess it's probably, I feel like his age is similar to what De Niro, because how old is Driver now? So Adam Driver, he's like 40 something. I'm gonna say he's like 46. He's 41. Okay, so he's 41. Robert De Niro Heat age, I feel like he was 52. Okay, so I guess if you say, like they say younger, even I guess technically 10 years is younger, right? So again, I don't see the jump from Driver to look like De Niro, but that's fine with me not being a 1-to-1. I think that's a better route to go than what we saw with the Irishman with the DH stuff, right? That didn't exactly work, especially with Heat. I'm imagining we're going to have some heist. We're going to have some action. If you think about, to me, one of the greatest scenes of all time, the heist in the third act for Heat. If that were to happen and you have an older gentleman who can't run around, it's not really going to work. Something's going to feel off. So I think for myself that it's best to go with the young actors. So Driver's been like this for a while and sounds like he's being De Niro. And Butler, it seems like he's going to be young Kilmer, which is pretty perfect casting. I feel like they are comparable to just their just kind of status and careers where they are as far as just at the times. I think it's, they're honestly just overall careers too. And I just think energy too, that matches. But then we had heard the Leo rumors a little while back, and I can't remember. It was before One Battle After Another came out, because it was like, what's he doing next, right? Because it was he's doing Evil Knievel with Giselle, and that doesn't sound like it's happening at all, because that movie's not happening like at all. Like, it's not even because Leo's not in it. It's because it was him and Adrian Brody, right? Yeah, and then it sounds like now Damien Chazelle's doing a prison drama with Cillian Murphy, Daniel Craig, and somebody else. I think it's an actress that's good. So that's cool. I'm excited for that. But sounds like he's off that. And then there was rumblings that he might have a role in the Cliff Booth movie. It's kind of gone back and forth. It kind of sounded like it was a money thing, as far as like, he obviously has worked with Netflix before, so the rumor was kind of like, hey, if they pay up, they'll be here. But it's like, is he worth it? I think for that movie, it is to have a scene or a segment with him. I do think he is worth whatever it is. I think that would help it tremendously, especially without Tarantino there. But there's just been this talk, what's he doing next? And then the Scorsese project, he's doing kind of a horror thriller with Jennifer Lawrence. But it sounds like this, maybe he's not next, but one maybe after the Scorsese project. And that was a wrinkle where it's like, okay, who's he playing? Because then it was like, is he playing young Neil, which is the De Niro character, right? There's also, I think, a villain, like a big bad that's in the past, because the two things are, it's Kilmer on the run, and then it's, I imagine, him reflecting, because Pacino's character is still after him, I guess, in the book, and then it's those characters reflected in the past. It's Pacino's early days of being a cop, I imagine, and then Chris's early days of being De Niro on the other crew, right? So there was like always going to be that. I think in the flashbacks, there's told there's like another type of villain or big bad of some sorts, of people thought that would be Leo. That could be Cooper, even though I think Cooper can bring the energy. And that's the rumor right now, that Leo is playing Kilmer's character. They've not said anything about De Niro or Driver and Butler. I think it's a lot of us just assuming, are things we've heard before. To me, that makes sense, where if Leo's playing the modern day, because obviously Kilmer's not around, and unfortunately, if Kilmer was around, he couldn't have done it, right? He, with his voice and everything, I guess you could have done it in a very different sort of way, and you could have had that character not talk as much. But again, I don't know. If the book, he's talking all over, you got to make some changes for the movie. But if he has lots of dialogue, that'd be very tough to do, right? And Leo, to me, I think is a good comparison for like, okay, if it's the Chris character later on, I can see him playing that and stepping into those shoes and doing well. Leo is one of the best of all time, right? So no worry there. I was a little worried at points when it looked like, which we still haven't had confirmed, but as I had not read the book, I wasn't sure how much Chris as like a current day Chris, Val Kilmer, was in it. So when the rumors at first were looking like he was playing like a young Val Kilmer, I was like, oh no, like, you can't. Leo's older than Val was in Heat, and he's playing the young version, but it sounds like he's playing a version that, like I said, it picks up right after, but I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll have it years later, in a sense, or maybe there's some kind of a slight de-aging there, or makeup, who knows. Butler's good casting there. And then Cooper, that's the one where, is he this bad guy? And then also, could he be Pacino? Pacino's the tough one, and that's where it comes down to the actual topic here of like, is this a good idea? I really don't know. For the book, I've just heard mixed things, so that's tough for me to say. Like, if everyone like raved about the book, I would say, okay, do it. But I've heard mixed things about books, so I'm not completely on board there. Man, it has been a minute since, and I mean man, Mann, as in Michael Mann. It's been a minute since he's directed something to me that's been really great, because Clay was asking me yesterday my thoughts on Ferrari, which I watched about half an hour last year, and I just didn't get into. Didn't dislike it. Thought it was still like good enough, but I watched some of it and never went back to, right? And I love Adam Driver, so I shouldn't give it another chance. But like, what has he done the last little bit? Black Hat, which wasn't the greatest. Let's see, his TV. Public Enemies, I like a lot more than other people. I do think it didn't live up to the potential of, you had Bale at the height of his powers, you had Johnny Depp that's pretty close to there, Marion Cotillard. I think it's a very good movie, but it had the bones to be a great movie. Miami Vice, the updated one, I have not seen since I was a wee lad, so I can't give a comment on that. Collateral, to me, obviously Heat is his best movie, but Collateral is, man, that's Cruise's best performance. I love Collateral. I will die at the stake for Collateral being a fantastic movie. And then, yeah, Inside Our Last Mohicans. After that, it's like kind of like Collateral and on Ali. He is a bunch of like Manhunter. He has a bunch of great stuff going on, right? So, obviously so I'd say like even Public Enemies. Let's say if I were to say that's very good at times, that's '09. That's still God, what? Almost 20 years, right? By the time this movie comes out, almost 20 years since there's been something that's been like great. Honestly, though, he doesn't like direct a bunch of stuff, right? Two of the other things in there were TV shows. So it's not like a Eastwood or a Scorsese who's directing all the time. It's just like the last few things haven't been the great. Or even Ridley Scott, right? Where I feel like he's a better 50-50 where because he directs so much, some of that stuff's very meh, but some of the stuff is great. So you got a better idea. So we don't really know what we're gonna get here. But it's gonna be tough, I think, to tackle because you can make the case that this is the perfect guy to do it, but at the same time, is it maybe the era and even some of the because that movie, even though they're like 50, like they're in their 50s and 40s, it has a youth at times fuck the man type of vibe, and it's like, does Michael Mann still have that gear? And he might, right? He might. It hasn't been something for a while since he directed that's kind of like this. Like, of course, if it comes out not that good, it's not going to affect my love of that first one. That to me is one of the greatest movies ever made. I don't know if it's top 10 but it could be up there. It is fantastic. Yeah, we just watched it earlier this year. Emily, made her watch for the first time. She actually did enjoy it, and that's a movie like The Shining we talked about in the review. Like, I could watch Heat right away the second it's over, even though it's a almost 3 hour movie. Doesn't matter. I could watch it instantly, and it just rips. And it's so good, performances, everything. And that's the thing where Driver's De Niro I can buy, Butler and Leo as Kilmer I can buy, Cooper as Pacino I can kind of buy. I think I've seen some people be like, "Oh, really?" But it's like, think about even the last one, like Maestro, when he gets like really worked up, like I'm reining it in. Like he has those isms he could do. Pacino is the toughest one, especially that era of Pacino. Early Pacino, not as much because I feel like there's a certain style that Pacino does. I think people say like I can't remember what the breaking point is. There's kind of like it's almost like a singer, like when Steven Tyler changed his voice. There's a certain time where Pacino just changes his performance. They're still great, but he's always a bit more bombastic. Where I think in his earlier years was a bit more quiet, right? Like you look at Pacino in Godfather versus Pacino in Heat. Two very different guys, but I think Heat still has that. Heat's like, and Heat might have been it. Heat has the perfect amount of that solemn, great, best actor, type of Godfather vibe, and then it's the Scarface, Devil Advocate, really loud and got a big ass, like it's the perfect amalgamation. Very tough to do. That to me, like Pacino is very much like a Nick Cage or someone where it's just De Niro I can see. Pacino, that's a very tough nut to crack. And if Cooper's doing that, that's like good on him. I wish him the best of luck, and I hope he can do it. But that's yeah, that to me is that's a hard mountain to climb. And even that too, if Hannah, who is Pacino's character, is in the book, I hope he is back. So I'll be there. I'll see this. I'll have all the hope. I hope it's on Amazon. There is something where it is semi risky, right? Because like to me, Heat is in the sense of I'm sure there's some continuity or this that, but a perfect movie. And not that you have to make a perfect movie to be a good follow, but it can still be lesser than. Like I'm somebody that constantly defends The Dark Knight Rises, but I just think there's so much kind of space in between it, and it's not like a remake in a sense that we're gonna use the book, like we're gonna remake Heat and then make Heat to the book. It is going to be a sequel, so it's I don't know. I'm curious to see how it goes, and I hope that it can live up story wise and the action scenes wise. Like some of those moments, the sound design, how loud it is, like it's a tough one. It's luckily I guess I'm not going to have the same hype. I'm going to go in with being cautious about it, and again, Heat 2, if it, and that's the other thing too. How's it going to do, right? Because what did the first Heat do? Heat. Because I think it was like a hit, but it became more of a bigger hit as time went on. So me at a budget of 60 million and 187. So 95. That's a hit. And then overall time, it's definitely become like, I won't even say a cult thing, just like a inspiration for filmmakers and whatnot, right? So we'll see. I'm cautious of it, but I wish them the best of luck here. And I feel like it's just catching lightning in a bottle. Don't know if they're going to do it. Speaking of lightning in a bottle, Ocean's 14. So they've talked about this. If I can get the actual quote here, but because George Clooney is promoting that Netflix movie. I think it's Jay Kelly, right? That's the one with Adam Sandler. It's an old Baumbach movie and everything. So I hate that with the first one I search on X George Clooney, like the third one down is like George Clooney, like AI. So I don't know what they're doing or what's happening. But George Clooney reveals that Ocean's 14 is moving forward and there's plans to begin filming next year. So obviously I got three questions here. The biggest one to me is what's going on with Soderbergh. Soderbergh directed all three of those. Obviously, he retired, but then he came back. He's had like a pretty good run. He's somebody like Ridley Scott, where he's been working consistently since he came back. But let's see, Steven Soderbergh, and I feel like there's a right amount of time. I guess I'll ask all these questions to get them all in here. That's what it says. I'm still waiting on that damn Margot Robbie and Gosling Oceans prequel. I think that's dead if this happens. Unless they do something where they have a scene about his parents and they have them in there. Where they're Danny's theory is the theory. Is that the theory, or I thought that was just legitimately the plot? Maybe it's something where people have read the script and it's out there, but they haven't officially said. But I think that is what it is, that they're the parents. I don't think they can coexist. It's kind of the same way as this Margot Robbie Pirates movie. It's like, I think you just got everybody, we need to just finally decide here. If you're doing a Pirates movie, is Depp back or not, right? Because Depp being back changes so much. But if this movie happens, which I think it's going to, I think that one's going to be dead. And I can kind of get that. Ocean's 9, right? Was it? What the hell was it? Or is it just Ocean's 10? It's Ocean's 8. I don't know. Why do they call it Ocean's 8? So what, they could do 3, so they go 9, 10, and then you got 11, 12. I guess that's what they're hoping for. But I thought it did relatively well, the all-female one. Let's see here. Yeah, 70 million budget and then box office of 297, so almost 300 million. That's really good. Dakota Fanning's in this movie? Why do I not remember that at all? Is this true? That can't be true. Dakota Fanning in Ocean's 8? Oh my God, she is. For like a scene. Okay, just like a scene or something. Okay, but so I guess I'll put this all together. Is Soderbergh back, because it's the male version, right? Is it still the male version? Because we had Julia Roberts in the first one. Well, the first two, we had Catherine Zeta-Jones in there, and they kind of were part of the crew in a bit, right? And then also, because obviously a couple actors have passed, not with us, they have to add more people, right? And that's like, who are those crop of people? I'm not going to do that, because that cast could go on forever. But I would like them to try and find, I think it would be tough, but they should try to, like, I would love it if the 14 is, you need the 3, right? You need Damon, Pitt, and Clooney. To me, because all, like, even Cheadle now is a bit more expensive now, right? Like here, let me pull up the original 11, because obviously we don't have Bernie Mac anymore, which is unfortunate, right? Because he was a great part of that series. Let's see, director 54 Things Soderbergh. Look at that, which we'll get back into a second. Holy shit, he's just got so much stuff here. It's not like easy to find. Okay, Ocean's 11, great poster, by the way. I love the color scheme. Let's see, everybody. Of course, IMDb is not going to just fucking give me a great. It's going to give me like who played the board member number 2. So that, I guess that's a good experiment of. Here we go. Thank you for the poster, Ocean's 13. I guess you could get Garcia back, right? So what you have? That's the thing. I think you need most of them back, but you do need the 3. If they are making this movie without the 3 of them, to me, it's unless it's a reboot, right? If there's there's a few ways you could do it. If it's a reboot, which it's not, or it's just Danny, it's just George Clooney and the entire crew is new. I could see that. I don't think that's what people are necessarily wanting. I think they would want to be out for all of them, right? George, Brad, Damon, and Cheadle. I feel like those ones you have to. Obviously, you got like Scott Conn, which is, fine. You got, which is it, Casey Affleck, right? It is Casey Affleck, which, I don't know. It depends, right? But I think he's fine, I guess, if you're using, because obviously he's had some issues the past couple of years. But I guess if he's an Oppenheimer, he's probably deemed as safe. And, That's somebody that I would. That's been my pitch for a while. When they talk about villains, because the first one we had Andy Garcia, and then you had, I can't remember the guy, Vincent Cassell and other people, Vincent Cassell, and then you had Al Pacino. The fact that they're working together, production company, get them involved. I would really like Affleck to be in this movie. I'd particularly love him to be the villain. I think that'd be great, but what I would pitch is you get a crop of the old crew, you get a crop of the A crew. So Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, like even right there, like obviously this is like old Hollywood speak and whatnot, but like think about that movie: George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, Helen Bonham Carter, like just even putting, that's what I'd hope they did at some point, even putting the two Oceans cast together, that's a stat cast. You don't need everybody back. You maybe don't need Rihanna back, who I still liked, right? Anne Hathaway, get her back. But my pitch, and maybe the movie gets too expensive then, right, is do the men, the women, and then a new crew. And I think you need, and if the women aren't in it, I get that because they would be more expensive. And I guess they have to explain some things about Danny Ocean's fate in some of these movies, but I think what you want to do, it's tough because do I think there's like an Ocean's 15? Do I think there's a version of this where they make a movie and the new three trinity of the Oceans movie go on and make their own? I don't. I think people would want to see, at least Damon, Pitt, and Clooney together. But if you want to shot that, you need three other powerhouses. The same way we hear those rumors about Miami Vice and it's Glenn Powell and Michael B. Jordan. That's a statement right there. That's something where for me, who doesn't really care if they're making a new Miami Vice, other than sure, what's Kaczynski going to do with it? You get those two, I'm interested, right? It's the same thing that we saw with the Wolves movie. Like, that didn't really pull much, right? And Brad Pitt's movies, like, what's the last? Like, Once Upon a Time Hollywood pulled, but other than that, that's more like a Tarantino thing, right? But let me pull up this, and then I want to go down Soderbergh. And that's the other thing, too, is, like, is Soderbergh back? And that's... I don't know. I really don't know if he would come back or not. I would hope he's back. He has that style. I work with them all three. For some reason, I feel like I'm gonna say he's not back. But like, what's he been working on recently? Like Black Bag he just made. That was great. One of my favorites this year. Like a lot of the people. Presence I haven't seen, but I've heard some good things about. Kimmy, I have missed that one. I've missed I think a lot of ones that he has directed. Like Unsane, I never saw that. Logan Lucky's great. Side Effects, is that no, that's not the Contagion's the one. Contagion, that one's good. Magic Mike, I've actually never seen any of them. So he's kind of all over the place, but yeah, so no, it's just a question of would he come back? And I hope so. I guess he has this movie coming out called The Christophers. That's happening. So we'll see. I lean to no for some reason. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if I feel like the studio would want to go a different way. Side Effects is pretty great. Okay, so I don't know if I could get to the point where I'm trying to do like a Steven Soderbergh rewatch. Right now, I'm in a tough spot because I'm doing Halloween watches. I'm trying to watch one PTA movie a week. Most of them I've seen, but I'm just trying so I can do my ranking. And then I want to watch, after I'm done PTA, Kubrick, because I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen a lot of stuff. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff lately because I feel like I just watched The Shining, or there's stuff like Barry Lyndon where I got to give another chance. Even Doctor Strangelove. So Soderbergh's probably a back half, but I do want to watch Presence. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I wonder if he would come back or not. I'm going to lean to no, but I hope that's part of the deal. And I'd like the whole crew to be back together. And will it work? I don't know, because that's always going to work. The last thing I'll bring up on this for the Brad Pitt thing. Let's see. Oh, he's a producer of Enemy or Onamia, whatever the fucking Daniel Day movie is. Let's see. Acting wise, though. Well, no, I guess that's the way the box office is, man, right? Because you could look at everything. So, because I feel like take out Once Upon a Time Hollywood. That's a Hollywood hit, or that's a Tarantino one, right? Ad Astra was a pretty, I think, disappointing as far as box office. I think it didn't do anything amazing. I think Bullet Train did like fine, right? Let me just quickly look. Ad Astra, which I'm a big defender of. I know Golden Geeks time when we did that. I think me and Taylor were a big fan, and Kirkland and Dylan were not. Look at this. Review scores on Google, 2.6 out of 5. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Ad Astra is amazing. But I digress. That movie, and I get why they wouldn't pull too much because it's kind of heady, but so budget of 80, 100 million, made 135 million. So not great, right? And then Bullet Train, to me, it was a hit, but I thought it was just kind of like a modest hit, right? With the budget it had because it was rated R. I love Bullet Train. Could watch it all time. No, even better. I feel like maybe it started modest, but like 85 to 90 million, but then a box office of 240. So that's pretty good. But then after that, with that, you have Babylon, which we all know about was a big loss. And then Wolves was a big loss as well, too, where it just obviously was still going to Apple, but still didn't perform at all because his next movie, F1, was also going to Apple. And I think something with Wolves, they didn't push it as much as they were initially going to do. I think it was supposed to be a longer one, but that's where F1, you can argue that is the F1 audience that's pulling that ahead, right? But still hit and still the pit name. So it's a thing of like, will this movie pull people? I really don't know. And that's why I think you need the nostalgia of them together. You definitely, I would like Julia Roberts too. Even saying that, you should get Julia back. And then you do need, I think, another big three, at least a big two. You need someone the equivalent of a Clooney and a Brad Pitt together. And that's tough because there's not necessarily like movie stars now, but Michael B. Jordan and Glenn Powell, that would be a good option. But if they're doing Miami Vice, then you don't do that. Like I think Glenn Powell is like obviously the easy one. He probably will in a couple years become like Jennifer Lawrence, where people are sick of him. But to me, it's like he just fits that aesthetic of what Ocean's 11 would type of be. But yeah, I really don't know who I would put in there. So yeah, we'll see. F1 got a boost from the people that made the Top Gun Maverick marketing. Absolutely, right? And that's why I kind of put like multiple asterisks on F1, but still it was a hit, right? But I'm just trying to think of actors, because George Clooney, how old was he? He was in his early 40s, right? George Clooney, Ocean's 11 age. He was 40 ran the dot. And even Glenn Powell, right? He's about to be 40, or he is 40. He kind of broke later. He's 36. So he's even younger then. It's just like, I'm having a tough time of stars those ages. There's a lot of like younger stars coming up, but like I would never say like Timothée Chalamet should be in Ocean's 11, right? Like let's see what Google gives us. Ocean 11's fan cast for, let's say, reboot. Let's see what people come up with here. And that's where, honestly, too, when Espos is bringing that up, I think that like Gosling would fit here. Obviously, he's part of that prequel, but I would love it if they just said, we're going to kill that, but let's put you two in that. I don't think Margot would go for it, but Gosling would work. You were about to say Chalamet. Yeah, I think Chalamet is going to be on a different level. Chalamet, it looks like he's going to be, it sounds like he's won an Oscar for, what is that, for Mario Supreme, which is kind of funny because like there's a talk of which Safdie have the talent. I don't think it's that. I think Smash Machine has a lot of good stuff. So I think Benny Safdie is still very talented, but also the other Safdie is getting the bigger praise. And it's curious if it's going to happen, right? Because I agree with people where the Academy is weird. It is a new Academy, but it was like, are they going to make Timmy do the Leo thing where they're going to make him really work for it? But it feels like the people that have seen these movies, a lot of them have been like, no, like, it's so undeniable, this movie, which is going to be interesting because I think if Chalamet can win this now, he's not somebody like they're like, I'm trying to think of somebody recently. Oh God. Like I'm blanking. I'm not pulling because even Vikander, but like know who's a better person uses Rami Malek, right? Because Vikander, I think, is a little bit different. Malik wins that. He's coming off Mr. Robot, Bohemian Rhapsody. And then he's really in, up until Oppenheimer, which is a small role, he's not anything Academy-wise there, right? Sometimes it's just the perfect timing. Chalamet does not strike me as that. Chalamet, like, and I know we talked about this already on the Oscars cast, I had no problem with his speech of the whole, like, I want to be one of the greats, like LeBron. I look at Daniel Day and Viola Davis. I had no problem whatsoever him making that speech. I know people are like, oh, he's pompous and arrogant. No, man, like, he knows what he's got and he's working hard. And, like, I understood what he meant. I was always, like, fucking yeah, go get, like, to me, like, you should want actors like that where he says he's striving to be better and up there with the greats. If he wins, like, I do I want to Travis told you, we'll wait till after Mario Supreme. I think he could break the record. Now, obviously, Daniel Day could break the record, I guess, because he's back now, right? And he has that movie. I think Daniel Day is going to get nominated, but I think if Chalamet wins for Mario Supreme, there's a good chance he's going to break that record. Because how old is he now? He's 20-something, right? Timothée Chalamet. Let's see. He's 29. He's about to be 30. Oh my god, time flies. But like, when did Meryl Streep? Meryl Streep first Oscar win age. We're doing a lot of ages this time. Let's see. So she was 30, which that's kind of funny, eh? Because he would be probably by the time this all comes around. Because when's his birthday? He's December, so he's turned 30 this year. So that's kind of funny, right? So maybe I won't say it's a shoe in to break the record. He just feels a lot younger to me, but also there'll be tons of times like now he's already been nominated. But it'll be funny if he kind of wins it faster than Leo because he ever makes that comparison. And I agree. I don't think he's gonna do this type of stuff. Now, granted, he did do Wonka. And Dune to me is different because Dune, that's Denis, that is a franchise, but it's a franchise in a way of we're really doing it for the first time. He did do Wonka, so I guess you could see the pitch like, could you, get him into Oceans? Maybe. And Superman Mike says, is Glenn Powell really that big of a name yet? No one's talking about his football name or football show. I agree with you, and other than him getting money, I thought that was a bad idea, doing that football show. I think it's not always true, but I do think that quote of, I think he's off social media or he only posts every once in a while. Michael B. Jordan said, like, the reason he doesn't do much with social media because Denzel told him, like, if they see you on the weekdays, they're not going to pay for you on the weekends, right? And I agree with that. Not to everybody, because obviously their extent of, like, promotion and whatnot, like, social media is a huge aspect, right? But I think there is a degree of when Running Man comes out, and I was saying this, Emily, if people are busy or don't have babysitters, don't have the money, it's like, oh, I really would like to see this Glenn Powell picture. And then you go, oh, he has a show on Disney Plus, which I already own. I'll just watch this, and I'll watch Running Man when it comes to X, Y, and Z, right? I think the timing of that show is really bad. I think, though, Mike, the problem is he really that big of a name yet? Who is a big name now? There is, like, I know it's something we've talked about before, but it's like, there is no, like, Brad Pitt, George Clooney movie stars. To me, it is two things. It is a well-liked star. It is, okay, there's three things. There's the director, right? Tarantino, Nolan, even Scorsese, Spielberg. I don't think you can put there anymore, unfortunately. Denise, hopefully building up. To me, that's the thing where it's like, this is the Nolan event. This is the Tarantino event, right? So there's the director, which is we're seeing something because I know this guy's work, which is great. And then to me, there's two other pairings where I don't think there's anybody that's just, I am Glenn Powell, I am Timothy Chalamet, I am The Rock, I'm doing this movie like the Smash Machine, and it's going to be a big hit, right? Even 10 years ago, that was starting to die out, right? But I think there's two pairings. There is star we love with IP we like, or stars we love together. I think the ensemble helps, which again with Oceans, with other thing, with the Nolan movies, with Dune, and I'm using Oceans as an example of what they should do. We all know with Dune and Oppenheimer, those actors took pay cuts. That's how you get all those people together, right? I'm sure that probably happens with Knives Out as well. Like, that's where it is to me, is the draw. There's no, that's just a single draw, unfortunately. I think there's a lot of things that have changed that. Let's see. Espo says Running Man will be the bait to see for the Badlands sweep. Yeah, it is. Like, honestly, that is the test. As dumb as that sounds, because it is another IP, but like, Anyone But You, big hit, romance, great. And we kind of thought these are the two next big stars, right? Sydney Sweeney, Immaculate did well because it's a small budget, but the rest of the stuff hasn't been the greatest. We'll have to see how Christie does. With Glenn Powell, he was also in Twisters, right? Which is an old IP, but still an IP, so it's still some help. Running Man is an IP, but there are so many people that don't know about the Arnold one, or like it's a whole different generation, right? So I don't think it's in that sense, where Twisters to me was way more mainstream and it comes up a lot more. And that was a bit more of an ensemble where who is in Running Man? Who's the joke character? Fuck. Who is it? There's somebody that's in there for comedic relief. Is it Michael Cera? Is that it? It's somebody like that. Let me see. It's somebody that's like, so it's, man, yeah, it is Michael Cera. He's a comedic character. Man, Lee Pace is in this. That's great. Josh Brolin, William H. Macy, Coleman Domingo, and David Zayas, Batista from Dexter, Sean Hayes. What a stacked fucking cast. Good for Running Man. Good for Edgar Wright there. But still, that feels like it's a vehicle on him. That is the test. Yeah, Mike, you did beat me. I'll say, I suppose, with the delay, you got me. I think that's the thing, right? Let's see. Superman Mike says, if you have to describe them with it's the guy from X, they aren't a big name. And then you say Austin Butler, a guy. I go by who my parents know, and they know Butler and not Glenn. I would have to check about Butler. I'll have to ask my mom. She knows Glenn because she saw her and my whole family. I didn't go see it, but my sister, her, and Emily went to go see anyone but you. I don't know about Butler. I'll have to ask her. My dad, I think my dad is almost all like guy from X, So I think it depends. I think the thing with Butler is I don't think he has been the star of and I'm in the middle of watching Caught Stealing. I think that didn't perform the greatest, right? Not saying you're biased, Mike, because you just watched it and really liked it. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think as much as you, but like I'm enjoying it. I don't think Butler has been. I wouldn't consider him why Dune 2 was successful, right? Like let's see. I know I'm missing one in here, but let me tick Austin Butler. And don't get me wrong, I think he is same thing. That is I guess Elvis, right? How did Elvis do? Elvis movie, and that definitely built him, and he's great in that. Definitely shouldn't won over Brendan Fraser. Glad that happened, but let's see, that was 85 million, 28 million, or 288 million. So like, yeah, but that's the same thing of like, it's and yeah, Elvis was a huge normie parent audience, absolutely, and that's what I was gonna say. Did Austin Butler sell that? No, that was because it was a well-made movie with Baz Luhrmann and it was the Elvis name, right? So I'm just trying to think of. Let me pull up. No, my water. Let me take a look and see of movies he was in. He's in Eddington for a little bit. He's in Masters there the whole 9 minutes. Say Bike Riders. Yeah, like he doesn't have that, right? So that's the tough thing. I think it's all depend where you are because it's Once Upon in Hollywood. Elvis, which got him up big. Bike Riders did nothing, right? Because I think Bike Riders was kind of let me just pull it up here. I feel like now people have written him off as a big star because like Bike Riders was off of Elvis and then Caught Stealing. Those are two ones that did not perform well, right? I'm pretty sure underwhelming. So Bike Riders, what? Budget of 30 to 40 million, 36 million. Not good. Caught Stealing, budget of 40 million, box office 32 million. So that's the thing. I don't disagree, Mike, that there's definitely some people that would think he's a star, but he doesn't have the track record that Powell does. But Powell's also been IP stuff, right? And that's why I just think I don't think there is anybody. I think same thing. Sweeney looked like she could be that, and that wasn't the case, right? Margot Qualley, same thing. Substance, super hot. After that, not talking physical appearance, because yeah, she's gorgeous in that movie, same as Demi. But after that, memes, Oscars, Substance was even like that started to people watch it as like a gross up movie. It started to go everywhere, right? And that Honey You Don't Know, obviously not the greatest reviewed movie, but that doesn't matter, right? Because fucking Minecraft and other movies that are not good review movies break box office records or do this. I'm not saying Honey Don't should have had Minecraft. I'm just saying that was sold on Margaret Qualley and nothing happened, right? That was another one that, God, what did that come out to, right? I feel like it's probably like a budget of like 20, 30 million and made about under that. Honey Don't. Let's see. So budget was box office 6.7 million. Ay. Jeez Louise. And I agree, yeah, with this one. He's parent certified, and he's speaking of Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is a star. Michael B. Jordan's been in multiple franchises. I know, again, they're IPs, but with Black Panther, Creed, Sinners, I think he is one of the bigger names now. Again, who knows what would happen if you just put him in a rom-com or a drama. It's all about timing, right? So there's nobody that's a guaranteed. So that's why for me, it is you need... There you go. There's your three. Austin Butler, Glenn Powell, Michael B. Jordan, and then you get either Mark Qualley or Sydney Sweeney as the female lead. You get Sydney Sweeney because you can go off that A1, but you hype, and maybe not Michael B. Jordan or Glenn Powell because you got the movie all going, but that's where you should kind of aim for, right? So it's just that there is no movie star. There is no that. It's concepts, right? And same thing. We talked about anime doing great lately, or something like The Conjuring. Like the box office is all over the place right now. So we'll see, and that's why I'm talking about this. So I'm gonna talk about Fast, talk about Dexter quickly. I'm gonna talk about Charlie's Patreon question, Mike. Which I almost had this idea already. I think your question, because Mike asked me what is the Mount Rushmore of horror directors. I honestly think, unless there's some that breaks, my hope is to do a bonus episode this week. I think that's going to be the main topic, because I was looking at that, and I think I have three solidified, but one I want to talk through it, and I also don't think that's like I can do that in a flat like 5 minutes. I think there's a lot of contenders, especially like I have two solidified. And two I share with you, Mike. And then there's the third slot, which I'm pretty sure on. And then the fourth slot could go all over. So there's a tease that whether it's this week or next week, I think I'm going to do main topic based on Mike's question of what's the Mount Rushmore of the 21st century horror directors, because I can't just knock that out quickly. And because if we didn't talk too much today, then sure. But yeah, so Mike, I will do that question, but I think we can make that a main topic one. So look out for that and send in more. If you have your picks, send them in before I do them. I'd say Thursday, Friday, something like that. Might not be a live episode, but still, or even next week. We'll see. My schedule's all over the place, but I will do that probably as a main topic, if not a second main topic, because that there's a lot of contenders for the best horror directors right now. But then speaking with the box office, Fast and Furious, and this is old news now because it came out like on the Friday, which is just weird stuff where Vin Diesel says, they come to him, they want a new movie, which could be true. And then he's posting photos of him on the set. He's talking about being back on the street and all this stuff. And then we find out that they're not even shooting this movie, and that Universal is kind of like, hey, we want you to bring down the budget to do this, right? And now it kind of sounds like it's stalled. And here's the thing. I think that Universal has all the fucking power here, because obviously the last Fast and Furious movie made quite a bit of money, right? But it had a budget. What was the final budget on that? Fast X, like is it part one, right? But it has like a budget of 405, like what is it? See, yeah, and even then, it says 378, but we know it's more than that on lots of reports. And then at box office of 714, made to a point where it made 714 not profitable. So I understand them saying, hey, you got to bring this down. And I also just don't think the demand is there. And I know people might be, they made so many of them. That is part of it. But I think there was a layer, and I talked about this in the last movie, and there's a couple more. I think it was, if it wasn't the one before 9, I think it was 9. I think 8 started to, obviously they go very much over the top 5 and on, right? But there's still like a level of verisimilitude there where it feels like, okay, it's in the world, but quite heightened. Then we start to go to space, but then you start to get really, really big. But I think the other thing too is they just lost the stakes of almost every character that's died, they bring back. So it's just like, that was the thing where it felt like this evolving chapter and saga, like what's going to happen, who are we going to lose? But it's the abundance, and that happens with the MCU now too, right? The abundance to bring these people back and the dumb ways they do it. It just feels like there's no point of really watching anymore. And that's why I felt the last one, where that's the thing where most of the time, even if things aren't great, I would prefer them to have an ending. So if people haven't seen Last Fast Furious, it's a bunch of cliffhangers, which I'm not going to get into because that to me is the worst one. That's a bad movie. Other than Momoa, that's a bad movie. To me, it's this thing of, most of the time I want there to be an ending. I want to know what's going on. So whenever I watch the series again, I can go, okay, I have the X, Y, and Z, point A to point B. But they kind of made it that I don't really care. Like, they got so far off the path that I don't really care whether the ending of these characters are, because it's not that big saga anymore. Because again, these characters just come back alive. They're here. They're there. It's just, it is. And again, I can be fine with that in a comic book world. In this world, which was supposed to be realistic, to an extent, I don't care. So, and that's the thing where I feel that's something that, don't get me wrong, I think Fast Furious won't bomb. It could come out, make money, of course, but I don't think there is a fever pitch wanting it. And I think that is because of what they've done, the franchise, and people move on. There's too much time now. It's like 20. So if this movie comes out, probably be 2027. That's 4 years. Sometimes, absence makes the heart grow fonder, but there's other stuff too, where they're like, oh, we got to reunite Dom and Brian. No, we don't. All these other deaths in the movies are bad that they brought back and just went back on. The whole perfect ending of the 2 cars driving off and see you again, all that stuff. If they just do bring them back, it's like, well, it makes that movie feel lesser than, right? And that's what a lot of these other ones have made these movies feel lesser than, which is not good. So it's weird where, for myself, who always likes to have a ending point, and I feel like me and Emily every couple of years like to watch them all together because she was a big fan of them, and then I watched them, oh yeah, these are fun. We haven't done that in a while because we just haven't felt the need. Like, even the last one, same thing for her. It was this isn't the greatest, right? So they've kind of gone to that part where we don't care, and that's where for me it's crazy, where it's on a cliffhanger, and usually I want an ending, even if it's bad. Like, let's end it off. I don't care if we never see them again, right? So that's where I think Universal very much has the power. And that's where it's so funny. Vin Diesel is all about these movies about family, it's all about the crew and how close they are, etc., right? And it's this thing of, well, how close are you really? Are you willing to take a pay cut? Because I imagine that's what lots of it is, right? Yeah, and when they were making money hand over fist, absolutely, you can get everyone in there. But when they're not, less to go around. So the thing of, hey, either you do the Oppenheimer Doom thing where you all work together, make a bunch of money, but take cuts at the start, or I guess you can be greedy, but then there's like a less chance of success, or they just don't make it, right? So I don't know. Sure, if they make it, I'll be there. I would enjoy seeing the ending, and I think yes, you should cap this off, and I do think it will happen. I think they will find a way to get it to do, because it's odd if you do nothing with it, and I don't think it's something that they go, okay, we're rebooting with new actors. I do think it is tied, at least people's enjoyment is a lot tied to Ben Diesel and Paul Walker and Michelle Rodriguez and The Rock and Tyrese. Like, I think it is. Then I'm not saying you can never do that again, but it's not like Spider-Man where you reboot right away. And yeah, people love Tobey and Kirsten, but it's, you can get a whole fresh coat of paint on that, right? No pun intended. With Fast, I think what built that house was not the character, it was the actors in there. But at the same time, they're not worth the amount that you could be losing, right? So we'll see. Doesn't matter to me if they don't do it. That's all right, because I think last movie before 10, did it just end with like Brian pulling up to the cookout or something? Like, I could end it and watch there and be fine with it, right? So we'll see. I suppose says, don't forget to the solo Hobbs spinoff set between Fast X and 11. Yeah, that was, again, I don't want that. I like the Hobbs character. The two things I want is Hobbs and Shaw 2, which there was like rumors that they may didn't get along, which it wouldn't surprise me, but that's what I'd want. Or I want Rock with the crew. I don't need him to be on his own, and I definitely don't need that. I'm not saying it could be awful, but when he came back, I was like, oh, cool. They figured out he can be at the Fast team. And then it's like, no, he's actually, it might just be his own movie and that's it. It's like, well, that's lame. That's not what I'm looking for here. So, but yes, I did forget about it. We'll see. Maybe The Rock's more down to do it after the Smashing Machine, right? I hope it's going to be interesting these next 6 months for Hollywood fans. See how the Oscars go too, right? For Hollywood fans and wrestling fans, going to be very interesting to see see the Rock's trajectory, right? Ryan Reynolds is the villain for Hobbs and Shaw 2, still waiting for that payoff. I don't think he is the villain, right? I thought the rumor with that was Keanu who was the voice and they couldn't nail down a deal. I thought that's what it was. He was the voice and they just couldn't nail it down before the movie came out, so they left it open. But I guess, was there something about Reynolds being the villain? You'd have to explain that to me because I forgot. But I remember Keanu, that thing is true, at least. I don't know if he was the main big bad, but that's what it sounds like. I feel like they would just make Momoa the main big bad now. That was in Hobbs and Shaw, right? Like the secret device. Mike says, I think the time of making or marketing those movies as part 1 and part 2 is over, or for now is over. Backfired for Mission Impossible 2. Yeah, I agree. How do you feel about that for Wicked though, Mike, right? Is it just different because that's not really a big franchise, it's 1 and part 2, so I could see that. But I agree. I think for the most part, I think Avengers could still kind of get away with it, but I think for most franchises, yeah, people are kind of done with that. So he's in the movie, and I thought I remembered Reynolds also being the voice. He might have done the voice, but I don't know if he's the actual villain. But yes, he is in that movie, another character that just randomly pops up. But yeah, we'll see. And then Dexter, Resurrection, renewed for season 2. There you go. That's happening. Yeah, I obviously did well enough. I think from a business, they are smart to kind of ditch Original Sin, which was not good. Not say Resurrection's good, but to ditch that. And then the Trinity Killer show. We'll see. They didn't give a date. They're doing the writer room now. I hope there's only way to go, but up. They did a lot of damage with Resurrection. And I'm more excited for the reviews to do the memes, or we had the chat GPT of Dexter being Mission Impossible, which was one of our best ones we ever done. That was tons of there's the reviews are fun and people still listen to them, so we will still do them, but it's not the way where, oh man, I'm so excited to talk about Dexter. I'm excited to talk about Dexter in kind of a laughing amount, but not in a way where I once was, especially after New Blood. So very disappointing, but it's good to, I guess, hear. And I think this is locked in, right? Because technically Dexter Original Sin got renewed for a season 2, but They chop that. The word is all those changes happen because of new leadership. I think now if the new leadership is taken over and Dexter season 2 has been renewed, I think that's a good sign. Like it's actually gonna happen, barring the showrunners or writers not getting along and not working it out, right? So we'll see. But yeah, let's go to Charlie's Patreon question. Who, yeah, thanks Charlie for the message. I passed on the boys for the your review on The Shining, which I'll read a bit of it here. I'm glad you liked them. I'm glad you liked the movie and some other stuff you picked up on for the substance. But yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoyed the episode. It was very, very fun. One I've been waiting to do for a long time. I'm surprised we got it. But and then, like I said, Mike, I'm going to do yours as a full topic because that could be a bit longer. But Charlie Randall says he got 2 questions this week. Sorry if it's a little long. And never, people, if you worry about this is the time to send long ones because there's many times where there'll be lighter shows or nothing to talk about. And even then, I'll just always do it the next episode, right? So I'll always make good. It says, Shining Review was a lot of fun. Love the movie like you. The twisted end of the photo really stuck with me. Also never saw the cool comparisons with some of the shots from The Substance. Yeah, that's one of those things where I watched it and then I love The Substance and then people talk about it and I thought, oh, it must be like a within my consciousness of another reason why I love The Substance, because Shining for me, minor spoilers, people I think already knows, but greatest horror movie of all time, masterpiece. So seeing similar images in The Substance, like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why I enjoy it, right? And I love all those kind of tributes and Easter eggs and whatnot. I don't think it's too much. Some people might argue that the carpet and everything. I get the point, but it's fun. People are inspired by that stuff. As I've said before in that same review, there's a shot in our second film that is just not ripped from The Shining, but it is a tribute because I wanted to do it and be like, let's tank it on its head and change it a little bit. But that movie inspired a lot of people. Let's see. Okay, so he says, I've been trying to watch all the old horror movies that I've never seen. Just in the last months, I've seen Silence of the Lambs 50th anniversary for Jaws in theater. Nice. I wanted to see that, didn't get around to it. Halloween, The Thing, Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, Sixth Sense, The Shining, and Misery. What are a couple more I should watch based on the list? You can assume I haven't seen anything earlier than the 2000s. Also, what are your favorite 3 movies on the list? My top were The Thing, Halloween, Silence of the Lambs. Not The Shining. My God. But yeah, that would be where mine is there. So out of that list that you've seen, Shining's number 1 for sure. Halloween would be number 2, I think. And then I have to rewatch The Thing, Psycho, and Sixth Sense because I've not seen them in a very long time. I love Misery. Misery's probably that there because I know April's probably mad somewhere. She's probably waking up with her chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw, I hold in high regard for the impact and what it did for horror community and film and going forward. And it's definitely inspired a bunch of people, right? I don't have it in that high esteem for me. Like if I'm making them out Rushmore or my favorites all time, my top 10, I don't have it there. I think at times it's a little, I don't know, meandering. I don't really love all the characters. I think you could cut some of that stuff out. I think there's some horrifying stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's some great shots in there, some great moments, but it's never hit me the same way as it has some other people. And I think we all have those, right? I think we all have a hot take. Yeah, I knew April was on there. I always got my chainsaw ready, she says. Like, I think we all have, there's so many people that feel the way about The Shining, right? Of like, when I hear people, which if anyone's there, there's no disrespect, it's fine. But when I hear people go, oh, yeah, I like The Shining a lot, but Doctor Sleep's better, I'm like, you fucking what? No way. I love Doctor Sleep, but like, there's absolutely no way, right? So for me, I think everyone has those top 10 horror movies that there's one on the list where you go, not necessarily for me. I think what you should do is you got to knock off the big 3. You did Halloween. Obviously, you could keep watching them. In chat, I see, April in there, Espos, and Mike, if you want to go into it too. What is your guys' next that you put for Halloween, right? Because it's tough for me to say with what I was saying with the Trinity is, to me, it's Michael, Freddy, and Jason. You should watch a few of those. I think with Freddy, it's very easy because watch the first one. You could watch the first one, be done. The first one to me is like a horror masterpiece, where The Shining to me is a film masterpiece. There's some stuff where like the acting in Nightmare is not going to be what Jack Nicholson's doing, right? But the concept, the performance, especially from Robert Englund, absolutely love. So for me, you should at least knock off that. And then I could say like, oh, if you like that but don't want to watch them all, right? Because you watched Halloween. Charlie, I'm not sure now. Are you planning like, oh, you want to watch all of them, 2, 3, 4? Halloween to me is harder. They Live. There's another good one. Yeah. Jason character wise is in the Trinity. In terms of his movie, hell no. I that's the tough thing, right? So that's where I'm getting before I get to your point there, Mike, where um Freddy, I can easily say, and that's why to me Freddy is the best one. Freddy has the best quality out of Michael. Out of the horror icons, I think all of them, right? He has the best. He did watch The Thing, so he's got that covered down. He has, to me, easy ones where I could say, okay, with Freddy, it's the first one, 3, and New Nightmare. Those are ones that I think are great horror movies. There's lots of people that defend 4, but if you, Charlie, because I'm not sure if you're just watching the classic, because some people might, oh, I've watched this, and then that's good enough. I'm going to move on, watch some other stuff. If you're going to watch the entire series of them all, great. And there's some fun stuff. There's some bad stuff. There's some good stuff. Oh, April, I'm going to fight you on that, but I do need to rewatch. So I think with Freddy, if you were to say, so I'd say definitely Nightmare on Elm Street, add that. Watch the first one, and if you like them, oh yeah, I agree there. Yeah, Freddy versus Jason, that's another one. But I do think you kind of need some of the context of them all. But I think with Freddy, I can easily say first, third, New Nightmare, and even Freddy vs. Jason. But that's kind of a side tangent, right? Halloween and Jason, I have a tougher time saying that. I think those go into a schlocky, have a good time thing. Like even the first Friday the 13th, not really the greatest movie. I am in the camp that I think it's kind of sacrilegious for me to say, but I think from a film quality standpoint, I think it's missing a lot of stuff. It's missing some of the charm, but as a film start to finish, the remake for Friday the 13th might be the best one, where the remake for Nightmare on Elm Street is the worst one in that series, even though Jackie Earle Haley is very underutilized as Freddy, right? So, and same thing. So with Halloween, that's a tough thing because here we have some. So Espo says Halloween, I would say the original in 2018, despite the other ones there I like. And I think I'm kind of the same. I do really enjoy Halloween 4. I think Halloween 5 gets a little meh, but April, I'm going to get to you. You got some hot takes going here. We got 3 minutes. I don't have time to break down all these hot takes. And I see Mike's there. Mike, I don't think that's a hot take. He's this hot take. The Thing is the best John Carpenter. I don't think so. I have to watch The Thing again. It's been a while, but from what I remember, I don't think that's a hot take. I know you're saying that because probably most people say Halloween, but I feel like The Thing might be better overall because the Halloween, like, I think it's a great first act and don't get me wrong, it's all great. I give that a 5. I'm just saying if you're looking at it versus The Thing, I think the middle, like the act 2 just slogs down a little bit where it just gets a little repetitive and it's like, all right, it's good. Where The Thing, I think there's always intrigue, but again, I have to rewatch. It's been a long time, so maybe that's next on the list. But with Halloween, I agree with S Bubs where you could watch the original for sure, and then 2018, which I do really enjoy. The rest of the series, which I watched again this year, not as great. And even Halloween 3 or Halloween 2018, the third act, some bad stuff starts to happen. So I think it's a really good legacy sequel. No, I think it's a good legacy sequel. I think the third act does really hurt it, but I think that's worth watching. And then to me, Halloween 4, I think that's fun. Oh no, I'm wrong too. I'm a huge fan. To me, the best sequel on Halloween is Halloween H2O. I fucking love H2. Yeah, it's a little Scream quoted, where that's another one. Scream put on the list, just the original trilogy. 4, I'm not a huge fan of, and the new sequel trilogy, there's some pros and cons, but I think Charlie, definitely the original Scream trilogy you should knock off. But yeah, Halloween, I'm a big H2O fan. So I would say for Halloween, watch that. Watch H2O, because you could literally watch H2O and you don't have to watch the other ones. It's like a legacy. It's like one of the first legacy sequels ever. And then I think that's kind of it. And I do have to end it here, though. But April, you said, yeah, I agree with everybody here. Evil Dead, those are ones you should definitely put up. Especially with those, Charlie, you got a whole variety of comedic movies, scary movies, if you like torture porn, not torture, but very gory movies. Like there's a wide variety. There's like almost parody with Evil Dead 3. So I agree out of all of them. To me, I'm always going to say Nightmare first. I'm going to say Scream. And then I'm going to say Evil Dead. I agree with them. You should get to Jason, but like, even then. And April says Halloween 3. I need to rewatch that. Not the biggest fan of Halloween 3. That's Halloween without Michael. But then she also said Jason X is the best F13. I think you can make a case for that in some places, but not to me. I think for comedic value, yes, you could. Black Christmas, yeah, that's a good one to put in there. Especially Real Sickles hit the original Halloween, Halloween H2O, and Resurrection line. I do not include Resurrection. I stop, and I even like Halloween 2. So I could go Halloween 1, 2, and H2O. Resurrection does not exist for me. That's a bad movie. It's so funny they've tried to correct the they tried to correct the lineage of those movies, right? Like, let's fix, like, Halloween comes out and then they make 2 and then 4 and 5 because 3 doesn't have Michael Myers, and then they have the Curse of Michael Myers, and then with H2O they're like, we're gonna ignore all the movies that aren't Halloween 1 and 2. Okay, they do that, they get to Resurrection, and they screw up again there. So then Halloween 2018, which I hate that's called that, it says, okay, well, let's ignore all of them except the first one. There is like a perfect, to me, if you were to somehow put all the movies together, a perfect timeline, but none of the timelines are perfect in itself, right? So it says, I love Resurrection in a so bad it's good, but if you ignore it the way Laurie dying part, sorry, I fucking butchered that. I love Resurrection in a so bad it's good way. I agree with F13. I can get there. If we're talking in fun sense, then yes. Or with Jason X, I mean, it's good. If you ignore the way Laurie dying part at the start, yeah, Laurie dying part is it's some bad stuff, and maybe I just spoiled that for Charlie. But like again, there's multiple timelines, so it doesn't matter. Curse of Chucky is a great later Chucky sequel to my favorite in the franchise. Was that the one that went to Netflix when they're in the asylum? Because I thought I did not. I did not enjoy that one, Mike. I can't get with you that one. It's been a while. I think we did on Netflix and fail. I was not a fan of those. But yeah, so Charlie, that's what I'd say is Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, Evil Dead, a couple of Halloween movies. I think, Jason, you should knock some of them off, but those are, you got to watch and know it's the one before. Okay, then yeah, that one I think was better. The Asylum one, that was iffy. That was not a good one. But yeah, I think with Jason, I'm not sure if you're watching these alone. You probably have less fun if you're watching them alone, but if you're ever watching with people, then get into the Friday 13th. But you should watch a couple. I feel like Friday 13th, watch the first one. I would say 1, 2, 4, and then the remake. But you should probably just watch them all. But there you go. That is Travis Toy for today. That was fun. Like I said, send in more Halloween stuff. I love telling this. Maybe we'll try to do the week of a Halloween episode. But yeah, next episode, whenever I do record that, whether it's on Friday or next week, the main topic will be Mike's question one of the days, or at least be a subtopic of the Mount Rushmore of horror directors in the 21st century. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. I promise you, when I'm back next week, it won't be boring. Oh, hang on. Charlie Randall says, I've actually seen Evil Dead and Scream, but definitely going to do Friday 13th Night. Yeah, do Nightmare first, I'd say, because if you're just watching, if you have a limited time, Nightmare's the one I recommend. Freddy's my guy, but Friday 13th, yeah, there's some fun ones in there. Child's Play, even the old Child's Play, I would recommend that too. Is there any other slasher ones? I'm not sure. We'll return to, but we've given you some homework now, Charlie. So there you go.